Blog Talk Radio.
Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Fan assassinator! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! A jam shot straight to your brain! Straight to your skull crack! You get down to straight to your brain! Straight to your skull crack! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! I will fly high! 5-star frog splash! You can't stop me! 5-star frog splash! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! It's all about the yin and the yang! The balance of power that bends! You can't stop the yin and the yang! The balance of power that bends! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! I will levitate! Flip kick you in the yam! I will decimate! You can prepare for! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! 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 Drop it down! The whole fucking show!
You're listening to RVD Radio.
You know the good thing about being in California this time of year, Halloween time? It's fucking beautiful. It's sunny out every day, just like we used to have in the summer, except for way better growing up in Michigan. We only had like a few really good months of nice weather, laying out by the pool, and then it was either getting ready for winter or it was recovering from winter. It's always kind of depressing. And Halloween makes me think of that time of year, of the fall. Leaves are dying, falling all over the ground. You know that summer is like officially way the fuck over and won't be coming back for a long time. And the smell of leaves burning and stuff, it's all kind of depressing. I always thought so, you know. And then the cold weather comes, and growing up in Michigan, there was tons of snow and snowstorms, and that wasn't fun. You shoveling the driveway out so you could sometimes shovel your car out just to find it. We literally had snow just go over the house. And then anyway, then it all melts, so that's what spring is about, is mud everywhere and wet ground, and you can stop wearing gloves, but you still got to have that cold jacket on, you know. But here in Southern California, where I've chosen to set up my nest for the last 10 years, it's gorgeous. Yesterday I was riding my bike at the beach, like I always do, and It's my favorite thing to do in California. When I used to be on the road, and I was always homesick, and when I would come home, of course, the main thing is being with my wife and spending time with my wife, and that's obvious to everybody that knows me. But when I would get to jump on my bike and go ride my bike path at the beach, that is just touching home base to me. That clears all the mental toxins out of my mind that are stressing me out from traveling from this crappy town to this crappy town to this crappy town. So it's just wonderful. And where I live, there's miles and miles of beach, starting way up north in Malibu, which I hardly ever ride up that high, but my bike path usually goes through Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, up to El Segundo. If I keep riding up the coast, then I end up eventually after going through Playa del Rey and Venice Beach, Santa Monica Beach, Pacific Palisades, and then Malibu is way up from there. That is a hell of a ride. But I do part of that, mostly the Manhattan, Hermosa, Redondo, Torrance. I do that a lot. I did that 3 times this week. And share a little story with you. Let me get sidetracked here. I think some people may appreciate this. I'm riding my bike yesterday, and there was hardly anybody out. You know, it's a Tuesday afternoon. People are working or whatever, but the sun was out. It was beautiful. And the fact that hardly anybody was out gave me a lot of opportunity. You know, the sidewalk was mine. There's about 12 feet across where you ride your bike, both directions. And then there's sand on either side. And so while I'm riding, no-handed, of course, because that's the way that I ride, and that's part of the fun for me is riding all day no-handed, even going around shit. But here's what you'll probably appreciate. For some reason, I like doing these mental exercises where I challenge myself, and one of them is as such that I was riding yesterday. I said, you know what? I bet I can close my eyes and hit 10 pedals. Because I do 8 all the time. I open my eyes up in enough safety distance before I'm going to crash into somebody. But this time there was nobody there. I said, I'm going for 10. And I closed my eyes, and I counted my strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As soon as I opened up my eyes, my front tire ate the sand, and my back tire came up, vroom, and I just went up into like a handstand, or an endo, as us bikers like to call it, and I came back down in the sand, but on my feet, gracefully, laughed, looked around to see if anybody saw it, and nobody seemed to see it. I thought it was hilarious. And I don't know if I'd recommend that you do that, but if I would have went to 11, dude, I would have flown over the handlebars for sure. But I've always done that. I just, when I walk, I do that a lot. When I walk, it's easy to get 15, 20 paces. At the airports, when I'm walking on the moving sidewalk and it has actual bumpers on each side of me so I can't walk into anything, sometimes I'll close my eyes and go the whole distance. It's just it's like a mental exercise. It's something that I started way back when I was training, to kickbox when I was a kid. I would do things like that, silly things. I don't know. I flush public urinals with my feet. I've always done that too. If there's a lot of people in there in the restroom and I don't, and I feel conscious about them all looking at me, then I walk away and I leave my pee in there. Otherwise, I flush it with my feet. I do not touch that handle. That's got to be the nastiest thing all day that I pass. And anyway, so on my bike ride yesterday, the same ride that I do all the time, like I said, 3 times in the last week, I ride all the time down this path. But a book I've gotten recently that tells me about some Los Angeles history and shooting locations, filming locations, stuff like that. I find that fascinating. For the last couple of years, I've really sunk into Hollywood history, and when friends come to town, I'm getting pretty good at giving them tours and even showing them, houses people live in and stuff. But I found out there's a couple of houses on my ride. So yesterday on this same, it's a 7-mile stretch that I ride and then come back, and on that same path that I always do, this time I had some things to look for. For instance, at 2028, the Strand, there was the house that Cameron Diaz used in Charlie's Angels 2 when she was with Owen Wilson. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I looked at it. Wow, I go by that all the time. Then there's the 90210 Beach House. I didn't watch 90210, but I was curious. And damn, of course it's that house, the Beach House. Also the Portofino Inn they used in Cannonball Run. And anyway, it's fascinating to me that the more I learn, every time I go to Hollywood, I get another book. I have this huge book collection now of all these locations, and it's not just about locations. It's really about the history, of Hollywood when it was way back, when it just came together in the 1880s, and then when they had the Hollywood land sign to sell the real estate. I'm fascinated with all of that. But also what I'm finding out looking through my book is that living in Los Angeles, I live on an actual set. It's like a damn TV set. Like, it seems like whatever TV show I used to watch, I can go there and see the house that they filmed it in, Today, we went on a haunted Hollywood tour. Sorry, I tried to read my chat here. Yeah, fix it so my guests can chat in my chat room. Oh, I see. I'm supposed to hit that start button, probably. I thought I did that. Okay. Producer Nikki Starr, standing by, helping me keep things going. Appreciate the help. I'm going to have Nikki Starr on in a little while, and she's going to share some stories with us, because we're going to talk about Halloween, and we're going to talk about some ghost stories, and see what the fans or the listeners, whatever you want to call yourselves, free thinkers, have to share. Today we went on this haunted Hollywood tour. It's called Dearly Departed Tour. You can look up dearlydeparted.com. You can see where we were. And I knew most of, if not all of what we went around to see. But it was cool because this time I wasn't driving. Someone went around and narrated. It was like a 3.5-hour tour. It was kind of long, but it was pretty cool. Some of the highlights that I'll share with you. This is one of my favorite stories, and I wanted to. It was on my own mental list. I wanted to go and see the house that Peggy Entwistle lived in up in Beechwood Canyon. Peggy Entwistle was a theater actress that had a hard time transitioning over to the moving pictures back in the early 1900s, if you remember the 1900s, when that was the thing to do. They were fresh, they were new. The first full-length feature film was just made in 1914, and here in Hollywood, the first one that was made here in Hollywood, rather, because they did do some shit on the East Coast. You can go see the barn. They still have the barn preserved where Cecil B. DeMille actually shot that shit, the Squaw Man, and they have it preserved. It's the Hollywood Heritage Museum. It's awesome, okay? So anyway, back in the day, Peggy Entwistle, she was an actress, and she had a hard time making it, in the movies, and it was like, that's what people were doing, and she kind of gave up on it. She had problems every which way, relationship problems and money problems and this and that. And anyway, as history tells it, one day Peggy goes to the Hollywood sign, which would have been the Hollywood land sign back then, and she climbs up to the top of the letter H and she jumps off. That's a 45-foot ladder, and it's on the pretty steep mountain. That's a pretty decent bump to take. Pow. So she committed suicide, and she goes down in history as the actress that did that. I've always been fascinated with that story. You actually cannot climb the letters or even get to the letters now because they have it fenced off, big-time security cameras, helicopters, everything. You can do it if you're quick enough, but, of course, you risk some prosecution. And it might be worth it. I found out today it's like a $115 fine. I'm like, shit, that's not that bad of a ticket to go to the fucking Hollywood sign. You got to hike to get there, too, by the way. But Peggy Entwistle, she had a house, she was staying with her uncle over there on Beechwood Canyon, which is a road in the neighborhood by there. And I knew the exact address, 2428, from reading about it, and I really wanted to see the house. So I was glad that the tour stopped by there, and I got to see that house. We saw some of the houses, like the house that Charles Manson went in and tied the couple in, and they did the helter-skelter killings some brutal shit there, right? Drove around to see a bunch of death sites. One thing I was disappointed in, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, which has like hundreds of Hollywood celebrities buried in it. I was hoping that we would go inside, and we didn't. We drove by it, and they told us a little bit about it. I actually went inside there last week myself, and I didn't have time to really like walk around and shit, but I was hoping this tour was going to take me there. But my beautiful wife just walked in. Hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
How are you doing?
Good.
Did you have fun on the tour?
I did.
What was your favorite part?
Well, obviously the learning that little bit about the Beach Boys and what's his name? I can't think of it.
Eddie, somebody. Yeah, no. Hey, you want to tell the story? You're good at telling stories.
No, I suck at telling stories.
Here's a story that we learned today. There was this dude named Charles Manson, and he hung out with this guy that was I don't know if he was a manager, he was one of the Beach Boys, or he was with the Beach Boys anyway, and Charles Manson hung out with him. And while he was there with him, he actually wrote a song because he was trying to be a rock star, and the song ceased to exist. We actually heard it today, you know, listened to the music. Well, anyway, they had like while he was his followers, Charles, the gang, the Helter Skelter gang, whatever the fuck you call them, they all stayed with this guy. I think his name was Eddie or something, but they stayed with this guy that was with the Beach Boys, and they trashed his house and stole from him and shit. They had a big falling out. Well, the Beach Boys ended up using that song that fucking Charles Manson wrote, and they gave credit to the middleman, you know, that kicked Charlie out of his house. And they bought Charles a motorcycle to shut him up. So the song, they changed one word, so it went from "Cease to Exist" by Charles Manson to "Cease to Resist" by the Beach Boys. We heard both variations today back to back. That was kind of freaky. Awesome piece of trivia.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I liked about it. And the creepy part was for me was the Menendez brothers.
Ooh.
That was really kind of creepy.
Dude, here's what they did. We drive outside the house. We're parked right outside the house where those asshole Menendez brothers killed their parents. And while we're there, and the guy is telling us, you know, that they walked right inside that front door right there. They came out here and reloaded and came. And so we're looking at where it actually happened. And then the guy plays the 911 call. So we're actually hearing the brother while he's calling the police saying, you know, somebody killed my parents. And when we're looking at the spot he called from right inside the door, that was pretty freaky. So we got a bunch of phone calls, as always, and I'm going to go to them. We're also going to talk about Halloween because we saw some, what was that, History Channel, right? Saw this special on the History Channel, and the History Channel was telling us about how Halloween came about, and of course it was a pagan holiday, big surprise, and the Christians came in and they kind of compromised and tried to take over the day by making it about about Jesus and by honoring the saints, you know, and All Hallows Day was really All Saints Day, and which is November 1st, and then on the eve before, it was All Hallows Eve, which became Halloween, and pretty fascinating story. And I know I'm going to have filmmaker David Defalco is going to be on the line with us in a little bit. He made this movie Chaos, which, as he will tell you, is the most brutal movie ever made. Pretty brutal. There's a couple of really, really intense, realistic murder scenes that a critic recently wrote that's as close as you can get to watching an actual snuff film. This movie does haunt you. After you see it, you won't forget about it, for sure. All right. So, in the spirit of this time of year, Halloween coming up, and ghosts and hauntings and monsters and stuff, I'm going to go to the phone calls, and I'm going to see what kind of stories we can get out of here. Now, baby, you know that Sonia's still here with me. This is her first time here. She's fascinated by this, so that's cool. I always appreciate it when she wants to hang out with me. Let's see 614, because isn't that Ohio?
Yeah, I think that's Columbus.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can put them on the air. What's up, 614? Hey, it's Nikki Heyman.
Nikki Heyman, we know
Good evening, Zen Meister and Miss Zen Meister. It's good to be on the show again.
Right on. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. I'm cold because I'm at a friend's house who doesn't have a working furnace. It's 40 degrees in Columbus, but we'll survive.
Wow, we just got in from outside, and it was so hot we had to blast our air conditioner in the car because we were sweating.
Rub it in.
It's beautiful in Cali.
It's all right. Now, I'm the direct opposite of you when it comes from coming from somewhere, Zen Meister. I'm actually originally from Florida, where the forecast was 10 months of summer, 3 days of winter, and the rest was tolerable.
Yeah, well, Sonia and I lived in Florida. We lived in Orlando for a while, and I lived in Tampa for a minute too. Back when I was just, trying to work my way up the ladder as a career.
Just left your ghost house.
Yes, and I lived in Tampa December 1991. I was there for about 6 months or so. That's where I was donned with the name
Bob Van Dam.
That is correct. Ron Slinker. That was paying my dues back then. I went to Tampa, Florida, and I stayed with this crazy dude that was crazy, and it was a crazy time. And it was me sleeping on a floor with a bunch of, way too many people in an apartment, and I had $100 total to even go from Michigan to Florida. So that's what I'll always think of when I think about living in Tampa. But anyway, where do you live in Florida, Nikki Heyman?
Well, I lived in Orlando. I used to live there. I lived in Orlando. I was up on the west side. I was like 10 minutes from Universal Studios in the last apartment I lived in with a very dear friend of mine. The government thought I had 4 jobs, but I still couldn't pay my bills.
Yeah. That's I don't know what to say about that, but also where do we see you? Because I think we've seen you everywhere. When we would come to drive up to work at the arenas for WWE, Nikki Heyman would be
Paul.
Yes, dressed as Paul Heyman, and so she was very easy to pick out and always very cool. But I think we would see you everywhere. Maybe you lived in Florida and then you moved to Ohio, but didn't we see you around the Northeast also?
Well, I ran into you at least twice in New York because I went to the first 2 one-night stands. I went to that train wreck of an autograph session in Massapequa. They didn't tell us they were charging. That's why I was pitching such a huge hissy fit. The security guards were about ready to escort me out.
I don't even know what signing you're talking about. Was I there?
Yeah, it was you and 1 or 2 other divas. This was in Massapequa, probably before the second one-night stand, the night that you won the WWE title, the night that we were going to tear the building down if Vince was going to be stupid and keep it on John Cena. We drove from East Rutherford all the way into Massapequa to come to this autograph session. We find out that they were going to charge us, if I got pictures and autographs from both of you guys, it was going to cost me $80.
Yeah.
Now, I know I can get it for free I can get you for free behind just about any arena in Ohio, Michigan, Western Pennsylvania, Indiana.
No, but that's always that's always a weird area because at signings like that where they charge, then it's considered just like if you're at a store at a mall because it's business at that point. Usually they've paid somebody to have the talent there. They're trying to make their money back, and then sometimes it's a situation where there's no charge at all, and then someone still had to get the wrestlers there, but then it's usually they're trying to make it up in other business or just sponsoring it, trying to get the advertisement and shit like that. But yeah, that's when I had my store, by the way, I would have people come into my store, and my store, it was a comic book store. It's closed, by the way. People don't know that. It's been closed for years, but people are still looking for it and asking me all the time where my store is. Don't make a trip to LA just to see RVD's 5-Star Comics because go to my website, robvandam.com. There it is. But when I had my store, sometimes people would come in and they would say, you shouldn't charge to sign stuff, and I would say, I understand where they're coming from, but that's the whole purpose of the store. It was a business. We sold T-shirts, comic books, and action figures and videos and, all statues, all, related collectible items and shit. And that was always something that it's hard to get some people to understand, but those would be like some of the biggest nights would be like when I would come there and advertise that I was going to be signing, and of course we would charge to have your Polaroid taken with me or whatever, and there'd be a big line, and people sometimes they'd say, hey, you shouldn't charge for this, and they wouldn't understand. That would be like the biggest night in several months, and even with that, the store was still failing, which is why the store didn't survive.
Well, my problem with it was that I found the article on WWE.com, and I think they even advertised it on High Spots and Wrestling Figs, where they would list all the autograph sessions for everybody everywhere. Nowhere did it tell me that they were charging. If I had known that when I left the hotel to come see you, I'd have been fine. I have no problem paying $5, $10, $15 for an autograph if I know I'm going to pay it when I get there. Because
you got over it by now, and hopefully you're happy, and it's water under the bridge.
Hey, why should I be? I'm not mad at you. I'm just telling you that I almost got thrown out.
You're not mad, but you're not mad at all now. You're very balanced, I can tell.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, hey Nikki, have you ever had a first-hand encounter with a ghost or some kind of experience you couldn't explain?
Well, one of the weirdest things that happened with me is that I lost both of my grandfathers within 2 or 3 years of each other. One to various medical maladies and one to suicide. I had, within a week of their passings, I had a dream where I got one last encounter with them, my chance to say goodbye. I would see them in a very natural kind of setting. For example, my grandfather who committed suicide lives in Baltimore, and he had a beautiful house just outside of Baltimore proper. And I dreamt that I'd actually gone to this house, and we sat in the backyard and we talked for probably a couple of hours. But
okay.
This was within 2 weeks after he jumped off a bridge. But this was his way of saying goodbye to me.
By
actually
by spending some time and sitting and talking with you?
Yeah, just to say, hey, I've always loved you. You're a great part of the family. My son's been a great father to you. Don't worry about me. I'm in a much better place.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's very cool. You know how many people really long for that last chance once it's too late, so that's awesome.
And I've, like I said, it's been with 2 grandparents, stupid enough, a cat, and I got one from Eddie Guerrero.
Tell me about that one.
This one was bizarre. You're going to have to bear with me on this one. In this dream, okay, somewhere in this dream, I'm out in Colorado at some arena for a show. The weather outside is so bad that there's only like 600 or 700 people in the building. They crowd us all on one of the ramp side sections, and Vince McMahon came out and said, I have most of my crew here, but I only have about half the wrestlers. I'm going to make a decision in about 45 minutes whether or not we're going to go on the air. But if we do, you guys are going to get the show of a lifetime because you're the only ones that are going to get to see it. But they gave us free run of the arena. So I'm walking around. I'm way up in the 200 sections where they have the bleachers all folded back, and I hear somebody coming up the stairs. And I turn around, and it's Eddie in his wrestling gear.
Wow.
Now, in life, I never had the opportunity to meet him, shake his hand, take a picture with him, or anything like that. So I was very surprised that he was giving me this chance. And he said he had to show me something. He grabs my arm, and we run through the arena to this one area you could see outside. The snowstorm was still going on, but there was a couple thousand people out there. And he was pointing people out, and he said, there's going to be a big gang fight out there. I said, why would they be fighting in this weather? He says, well, come on, I'll take you closer. And I said, Eddie, you're starting to scare me. And he was about to apologize, and I woke up.
Wow.
It was just freaky.
I bet you, yeah? Do you really try to, like, analyze that and look for meaning and and try to really grasp, what message that could have been meant for you to interpret out of that?
I wasn't sure what to make of that because it's one of those things. Is there something coming up in my life I got to watch for? Is he trying to warn me about something? Or was, he was going to explain something to me. I would have loved to have heard what it was, but I can never continue my dreams.
Wow. That's a pretty cool story. Awesome. All right, Nikki. Well, I'm going to move on and take some other calls and see what other stories we got, too. Appreciate you sharing, as always.
I appreciate your time, Zen Meister. Enjoy the rest of the show. I'll be around.
Hey, are you listening on the phone or on a computer or what? Because I don't want to hang up on you if you're listening, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that yet. And I'm asking my producer too.
Keep me on the phone because this is where I'm listening to you right now.
Gotcha. See that?
And I'll just back off whatever.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. Well, then I'm going to move on. Nikki Heyman, always look forward to your call. Say bye to Nikki, baby.
Bye, Nikki.
Thank you. Bye, SVD.
Awesome. All right. Let's go into Brett. We got Brett with a ghost story. Big Brett. What's up, dude? Oh, wow. Calling with the ghost story.
Yeah, I'm trying to freak you out here. Anyway, I got a story. It's not like a ghost story. It's more of like a Halloween story.
Heard already.
So here we go. So Halloween night.
There we go.
Halloween night about 3 years ago. I was hanging out at my friend's apartment, Upper East Side in New York City. Probably about midnight, and I was the only one there. He had gone out. I think he wanted to get like some extra candy. He was getting like a lot of trick-or-treaters that night. He was having a party, but the party was over at that point, and people were still coming. But it was a thunderstorm out, so I'm there alone. Power goes out. But as you know, when the power goes out, the phone rings. I mean, the phone could still work. So the phone rings, and I'm a little freaked out at this point. I pick it up, and I say hello, and the voice on the other end of the phone says, "I am the Viper. I will be there in 10 minutes."
Okay.
So, and then hangs up. So, I'm like, all right, whatever. This has got to be a prank or something. So, I thought it was just one of my friends messing with me. So, whatever. I just let it go. So, I'm just kind of like waiting there until the power comes back on. My cell phone was still working, but, I mean, it was pretty dark at that point. And, it was loud outside, and, but about 5 minutes later, the phone rings again. I said, all right, what do they want now? So, pick up, said, hello? I am the Viper. I will be there in 5 minutes. So, at that point, I'm still thinking, all right, what the hell are they doing here? This is ridiculous.
Now, during this time, do you keep, I just got to know, during this time in between the phone calls, are you like, every time you walk into a new room, do you hit the light switch out of habit anyway?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it was pretty much like 20 minutes into the power being off, and I knew that it wasn't going to be working. So I wasn't really going room to room at that point. I was just kind of staying in the living room. There was really no point of going into another room. I was just chilling there on the couch.
All right, you got the Viper coming now. Okay.
Right. So I mean, I was actually trying to go to sleep, but it was also really loud from the thunder outside, and I was going to stay up for a little bit till my friend got back, but I mean, I didn't know even what happened to him. I assumed he was staying at the supermarket until the storm cleared because, he was, it was down the block. So that, he called after and, said, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then the phone rings again, and at that point it was just getting really annoying. So I pick up, I'm like, what do you want?
Obviously late. By this point, he's obviously late. He's not there. It's been well over 5 minutes.
It's been a while, but
where's my fucking pizza?
Where's my fucking pizza? I pick up the phone. I said, listen, man, what do you want? It's getting really annoying. I'm trying to get some shut-eye here. He said, I am the Viper. I am at your door. I'm like, all right, all right, like, come on now. So I look through the peephole, and it's covered. Like, I hate when people cover the peephole. I mean, exactly. I know at that point it was a joke, but I was nervous out of my mind. Like, I was shaking. I don't get scared over shit like this. But
so what do you got in your hand, man? You went and you grabbed a knife, or you got a baseball bat, or what do you got? You got something?
Well, I did go into the kitchen. I did take, like, a steak knife. Not that would do much, but, you know, this is all I had at that point. I couldn't even look for anything because, you know, it was totally dark there, and, you know, what the hell is going on here? So I'm like, pretty nervous at this point. I didn't even want to open the door, but, like, just knocking, like, loud, like, really loud. And honestly, it was freaking me the fuck out. It was probably the most scared I've ever been in my entire life.
And so here comes payoff.
Here I go to the door.
And okay.
Like, you know, I was walking really carefully because, you know, I didn't want the person to know I was walking towards the door. I was hoping, you know, at first I thought it was a joke, but I was pretty scared at this point that, you know, something was going on. And it was Halloween night, so I wasn't really sure what was going on. I opened the door, and it's a Spanish guy in a uniform with a mustache. He says, "I'm the Viper. I have come to wash your windows."
But it's raining. You don't need your windows washed. All right. Thanks for the call.
Well, how was my build-up? Was the build-up at least good?
Dude, the build-up was long and good.
Yeah, pretty much
Halloween.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right, dude. Thanks for the call. What do you think about that one, baby? I probably won't retell that joke. You know.
Pretty lame.
All right. Hey, check this out, baby. This is a new feature. If I click on here, I see their names. See?
Harry Slash.
Harry Slash. He's our
Harry.
Our New York official. He's listening online too, so we'll get back to him. Then there's Mike. Let's hear Chris with a ghost story. Okay. So Chris, let's hear about your first-hand encounter with an actual ghost. What up, Chris? Speak to me, Chris. No? All right. Ooh, what if Chris is a ghost? Ooh. See that? You got to look a little. That one's deep. It said Chris with a ghost story, and we didn't realize that we were part of the ghost story. All right. I'm going to try this Joe from Florida because I have a good feeling this one's going to be some scary shit. What up, Joe?
Hey, what's up, Rob?
How are you?
I am doing pretty good. Just chilling down here in Florida, land of FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah. And would you happen to be one of those wrestlers?
No, I know some guys down here. I know Joe Gomez.
Right on.
Yeah.
Tell Joe I said hello, would you?
I will tell Mr. Gomez that you said hello.
Yes, Joe Gomez. I knew him 100 years ago. I met him in 1991, so we are talking 100 years ago. And he was wrestling for the ICW with me back then in those days. And then now he's got a awesome chiropractor business, at least last I knew. Hey, didn't he have a sushi restaurant, too, in Ybor City?
Yes, Joe does have a sushi.
Dude. Uh-oh, it sounds like I'm losing you. Are you in the swamps of Florida wrestling an alligator right now?
No, I'm in my apartment with really, really bad cell phone reception.
All right, well, cool. How about this ghost story that you're holding out on, man? We want to hear it.
Okay, well, basically, my mom passed away in 2002. And
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it sucked. It was just freak kind of accident. She was talking on the phone with her best friend, aneurysm, dropped dead. But, you know, and since then, me and my father, you know, they sold the house, I moved out, I'm in an apartment, and I kind of went back there. It was a few months ago, just to see, you know, what they had done with the place. And I'm a big believer in the paranormal, so when I went there, I decided to, you know, say, like, because I saw they did renovations and that, you know, if you people who know about good stuff know that can sometimes kick up spirit activity when you mess with the place.
Sometimes they don't like that, right?
Yeah. And
well, is this this is the place where your mom passed away, right, Chris?
Yeah. The house.
Okay.
Yeah, the house where my mom passed away in, and that I was raised in. And they said yes. They hear some stuff at night. They see stuff out of the corner of their eyes. So I asked them, hey, could I possibly come back and maybe try to catch some of this stuff? Because I have an amateur interest in ghost hunting and all that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm with you. So you went to the house, and did you find? Did you discover some kind of message? Did you see your mom? What happened?
I got a couple of EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon clips. I don't have them with me at the moment, or else I'd put the speaker up to it. But one of them, clear as day, I was pretty sure it sounded almost like my mom, and it was my name. She said my name, which was kind of freaky.
Yeah, it's like you'd recognize your mom's voice. Your mom calling your name, yeah.
And then the other one said, watch your sister, which is really weird because that means she had to have been watching us because after my mom passed away, my sister kind of went off the deep end, how do we say?
Is she a younger sister?
Actually, she's older. She's 30 and I am 23.
Okay. Yeah, they have, I'm sure you're probably familiar with the TV show Crossing Over with John Edwards. If not...
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, listen, the guy is a medium, and he stands there, and it's like he can hear from the spirit world and then bring you messages. It's a very entertaining show. I don't know if what he's doing is real or not. I do know that some people can do stuff like that, and he I believe that he is real. To watch it kind of makes you suspicious. He'll pick out things that you just wouldn't know. He'll say, for instance, he would say, yeah, is there a mic sitting over here? And he works the audience like that. And he says, I got somebody. Is there who's Linda? And oh my gosh, that's my wife. She just passed away. Oh, she's saying something about the towel. Put the towel away. Does that make sense? Oh my God, yeah. And it makes sense to them. Watching you can be kind of suspicious, but I happen to know somebody that went on that show. Somebody who was a widow of a good friend of mine, Bobby Duncombe Jr., and she happened onto the show purely by accident. She was staying in the hotel room, and in the hotel they were having this John Edwards TV taping. She didn't know what it was, but she came across some tickets. She ended up at the show with her little daughter, and, she was married to a very good friend of mine, Bobby Duncombe Jr., who passed away several years ago. And during the show, this guy hit so many things and got so personal and narrowed it in right onto her that it was freaky. Like, she didn't know what to think of it. And I had to talk to her and say, listen, it was an incredible message, which, by the way, it was a life-changing experience for Cassidy, the little girl, because she had a really hard time with Daddy passing away, and she wasn't doing so good. And after John Edwards said that Bobby wants her to know, that he's still watching over her, and that he loves her and everything, all of a sudden she became like a student, and she got involved with cheerleading and all these social activities. It was crazy. It was an incredible turnaround for her, and the facts, and I have that on DVD too. I mean, I have my own copy of that, and knowing Bobby like I do, the things that he hit on, he brought up things, that only her and people that knew Bobby would understand, things about, he would refer to his wrestling tights as putting on his Superman outfit to go to work, and even talked about his accidental death, that he took too many. He messed up, referring, to an overdose. So yeah, they definitely are there's people like that, and John Edwards. If you haven't seen him, you watch that show. You tell me what you think about it, But that's awesome, having I think that having an experience, especially if you know who it is, like say, that's your mom's spirit, and you're able to make a connection. That's a hell of a gift. It's a hell of a gift. So you should be very grateful.
And the weird thing about it is, I really think she was kind of giving me encouragement, because a week before, I'm a amateur voice actor. I do a lot of voice work and stuff. And a week before, I had kind of gotten something that
Watch RVD TV at robvandam.com.
That wasn't your work, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was not my work. No, actually, I do a lot of work with Transformers.
You're listening to RVD Radio.
Can you do that one? Can you do that one?
Let me hear it again. Let me try.
Okay, here we go. That's good.
You're listening.
Double click this. See, I suck. Hold on. Let's hear it again.
You're listening to RVD Radio.
Hey, that was pretty good, man.
Thank you. Yeah, but actually, I do a lot of work with Transformers, and there's I
happen to have Optimus Prime. Hey, Chris, I happen to have Optimus Prime calling in tonight. He did Neil Kaplan. He does the voice for Optimus Prime. He's one of my guests tonight. So how's that for a coincidence?
Actually, I was actually on one of my wrestling news sites, Gerwick.net, and I saw that Neil was going to be on, so I told everyone on my Transformers board, Cybertron.com, and everyone hopefully from there is tuning in tonight to listen.
Wow, what do you think about that, Neil?
It's pretty cool, actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome! I got
actually, I think.
Go ahead.
He's Optimus Prime, and I happen to think I do a pretty mean Megatron.
Which version?
I can do David K's from Beast Wars, and I can do Frank Welker's original G1.
Well, I love David K's work, but if you're going to do his Megatron, do the actual Megatron, not the one from Beast Wars. That wasn't even Megatron. That was
yes,
Mega
we know
Animaltron or whatever. Just like
Yes, we know it was a namesake. Yes.
Exactly, brilliant. Very nice. Thank you first of all for taking such good care of me over there at Cybertron, and my good friend Ray. But contrary to popular belief, I will not be cardboard Optimus this year for Halloween.
Oh, righty then. Well, hey, anyway, but before we move on, Soundwave, coolest Transformer ever.
Yeah. I'm a Hot Rod fan. Rodimus Prime. What up?
Okay. Awesome. All right, well, hey, thanks for the call, Chris. I'm going to talk to Neil here for a minute. Thanks for sharing. And most important is that you get that message, because that message was for you, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. So, Neil, what's going on tonight?
Nothing much, sir. Nothing much. Just sharing a little pre-Halloween festivities with you. Halloween, obviously, because I'm a bit of a dork, it's one of my favorites. I certainly like ghost stories and dressing up and being somebody different, and of course, meeting chicks in fishnets who won't tell you their name other than Bunny. Does
that mean you like gothic chicks, and so on Halloween you look for ones that are dressed up like witches and shit?
I just look for ones that don't really have the bulge in the front. That's pretty much it. No Adam's apple, no bulge. Other than that, I'm good to go.
Either bulge, right? I'm not going to say which one because you don't want either one. That's cool.
Exactly.
Well, hey, you know what? Did you know that Halloween originally was a pagan holiday?
Well,
like Christmas?
That's why it's so cool.
Yeah,
crazy. Pagan holidays to be the best, really. It's all about just, woo-hoo, get out and celebrate.
Right, and Bob for apples and carved pumpkins and weird shit like that.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And by the way, I need to ask you, have you ever seen anybody go with trick?
I think when I was a little kid, yes, the guy that the weird old guy that lived a block away from me when I was a kid. He's the only one ever in my whole life. But when I would knock on his door and go trick or treat, he would go, well, okay, show me a trick. And I had no idea what to do. I'm like, what's he talking about? I'm just looking for a fucking Snickers.
But
yeah.
But that shows you the power of words, Rob. You gave him a choice, and he went with one. So
well, I know, and I learned, you know, I wasn't prepared, but after he said that to me next year when I went back, he said, show me a trick. I said, okay, I can stand on one finger. He said, show me, and I just slid my finger under my shoe.
Nice!
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Did he pony up either with cash or goodies?
He did, and I miss him because I don't know. I think I heard that he passed away, and he was crazy, but he did a lot for the kids. Man, he used to weld our bikes all the time. We'd be breaking them, and snowmobiles in the winter, and he was awesome, Norm Johnson. And his wife was crazy. His wife was crazy. She'd chase us out. We'd knock on the door, and she'd go, get out of here! You're evil! And it was kind of weird and awkward, but we'd laugh, you know. So do you get excited about Halloween? Is that like one of your favorite holidays, or were you going partying?
Especially when it's on a Friday or Saturday night. Come on, we got Friday this year, Saturday next year. It's gonna be awesome. Unfortunately, I had a friend come in from New York, and we had some plans for Friday night, but she had a death in the family, and so she has to fly back to New York. So I'm, taking care of her until she flies out tomorrow, and then, suddenly I have plans. So feel free to go to my website and email me ideas.
Right on. Hey, so would you consider yourself a werewolf expert or a wolfman expert?
Well, not necessarily an expert, sir, but as you well know, I've written my own take on the Wolfman story. And incidentally, I just want to point out to people that you got Wolfmen and you have werewolves. And interestingly enough, the movies that are titled Wolfman, like the movie Wolfman or Wolfen, those tend to be werewolves. And again, movies where an American werewolf in London, that's a Wolfman.
And explain to me the difference again. I asked you once before, and what was it?
Basically, to me, a Wolfman is one and the other. Okay, it's like a wolf man. A werewolf is a combination of the two. Like in the Lon Chaney movie, where he's got wolf-like features that are combined with a human's features, walks on two legs. But yet, in an American Werewolf in London, he becomes a wolf. He's walking on all fours, and obviously, from a distance, looks like a huge wolf, but he looks like a wolf. And so in my story, he's a wolf man. He is a wolf and a man, but not a combination of the two. So
I read your comic book that you wrote, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the follow-up. But at this point, it's not available. It's not produced yet. It's still in its embryonic stages, seeking further development. Right?
The graphic novel itself is being completed and should hit the book stands next year. We don't have a publisher yet, but we have some interest. What we did is we produced the first chapter, kind of like a super-duper trailer, so people could read the first 20 pages of the book, get one of our major twists, and hopefully have that really, get them salivating and interested in the rest. The one difference in my story is that it is not man into wolf, it is wolf into man.
Dude, that is an awesome twist. That's an awesome twist. The first time I read it, I didn't understand that because I was kind of like in a hurry or whatever the deal was. I didn't give it my full attention. And then when I read it again, I realized that. I was like, dude, how cool is that? That's an awesome twist. A wolf, and then when he changes, it's that he changes into a man. So that's
right. And obviously, in my story, the man is the killer. Not in Not like in an American Werewolf in London where the guy is a nice guy and then becomes a wolf and the wolf does the killing. This flips it on its head. He wanders the earth as a wolf and then kills when he's a man.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Hey, Neil, is there a website where people can get some information on this book?
Absolutely. I'll steer you to two websites. One, if people want to buy, a copy of the comic signed, that's eyeofthewolf.com, like me, so eyeofthewolf.com. Or we also have the first chapter actually where people can read it for free on triggerstreet.com/comics. Or if you just go to triggerstreet.com, there's a tab for comics. And then they can not only read the entire first chapter, but they can leave us a review, they can rate it, get in touch with us. It's pretty interactive. It's a pretty awesome site, and I'm sure that they'll find lots of other stuff to read and check out. But those are the two main places. If I can, real quickly, Rob, I'd like to brag about one of my artists, who's J.K. Woodward, who
RVD TV watchers have complete unlimited access to the Extreme Archive Vault, containing every episode ever fucking filmed.
Wow, that's such a cool voice. Who did that?
Isn't it, dude? I just had to throw that on because Mr. Neil Kaplan is the voice behind that shameless RVD TV at robvandam.com plug. But no, yeah, of course. Go ahead, dude. You're rolling. What else can you tell us?
No, I was just saying that my artist, my cover artist, J.K. Woodward, he's awesome. He's best known for his work on Fallen Angel, which again is a great Halloween book. So I think people will really dig it. They'll really enjoy it. And when we do the graphic novel, we actually get into the birth of the species. I mean, nobody, as far as I know, has ever actually to where do wolfmen come from? Where did this stuff start? So we got that, and of course, as you know, my next graphic novel after this is going to be your typical vampire kung fu Civil War story. I know, not another one.
Nice.
Oh, hey,
awesome.
What are you and Sonya going to dress as this year, man?
What about Sonya?
What are you guys going to dress as? Are you going to be dressed for the kids when they come knocking, or are you going out? What are you doing for Halloween?
Dude, I usually just dress as Rob Van Dam, and I take the whole idea so literally, like I'm like one of those method actors. I get into it so much that I actually will like sit on my couch and watch TV as if I was Rob Van Dam for the whole fucking night.
No, that's pretty awesome. But you only do that on Halloween, right?
Well, I mean, as far as, with that much effort, otherwise I'm just kicking back, But Sonya gets a little more excited than I do. I wouldn't be surprised if she dresses up. Are you going to dress up, Sonya?
Sexy geisha girl.
She says she's going to be a sexy geisha girl.
Nice. Well, I mean, I've met your lovely bride, and obviously that first word isn't anything. I mean, she could be, sexy house cleaning person, sexy burger flipper, Obviously, I say that with respect because you're a very large man and you could hurt me if I cross the line.
Don't make me show you my ripped thumbs.
Have you told your listening audience about that?
I have not. They are not privy to that information as up to this point in time.
Well, maybe we'll save that for a return visit, because that's not really so much of the Halloween theme,
Hey, have you got time to hang out, though? Because I got someone on the line that you're very familiar with because you actually did an RVD TV episode with this guy. We talked about the death penalty. It was me, it was you, Mr. Neil Kaplan, and it was David Defalco.
That was an awesome day. That's a very creative and twisted man.
I agree, and he loves Halloween. It's like his favorite holiday, like all year. He's calling in. David Defalco, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Rob Van Dam.
How is the demon tonight?
Well, very excited because, as you know, my big day is, about 48 hours away, if my watch is correct.
You sound pretty excited.
Yes. Halloween is the demon's holiday, so yes, I am very excited. How you guys?
Hi to Neil.
Hey, Neil, how you doing, man?
Hey, Dave, I'm doing great. I'm pretty jazzed about this weekend as well. So.
Oh yeah.
RVD, motherfucker!
Yeah, I'm also here with Karsten Lorenz, producer of The Grudge and The Boogeyman. He's having a cigarette out on my balcony as we speak.
And not to mention, he's also a producer of Harold and Kumar.
Yes, the comedies, yep. Producer
Just because you're hung like a moose doesn't mean you got to do porn.
Exactly.
Did he hear that, or did you say he's outside smoking a cigarette?
Oh, he's out there, but he'll be in a second.
All right, well, let me know when he's in. He'll pop, because that's from his movie.
Oh, yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay.
Producer of Harold and Kumar.
Dude, what the fuck was that? Oh, cool, I'm getting feedback. Are you by your computer, Dave? That was weird. Did you guys hear that?
I'm not by the computer. Why, what happened? Oh, you got feedback?
Yeah, but it was like a minute late.
Oh, really?
I don't know. It was weird. It's all right.
Hey, I got a trivia question for you guys. Does anybody know what samhainophobia is? It's an actual phobia, like, agoraphobia is a phobia of heights, claustrophobia, a phobia of, being in closed spaces, arachnophobia, of course, a fear of spiders. But do you know what samhainophobia is?
I do not. Neil, you want to bite on that one?
Neil?
I'm clueless.
Believe it or not, samhainophobia.
I can go to a caller. And see if the caller knows.
See if
should I do that?
Can tell you, of course, they could find out pretty quick, I'm sure, but with the internet these days. But
all right, hold on. I'm going to ask. Let me see. Let me try and go to Mike from Iowa and see if he can help us out here. Mike, can you hear us, brother?
Yeah.
All right, dude. I got it. Dave Defalco, movie producer, director, writer, has a question for you. Ask him, Dave.
Hey, have you ever heard of samhainophobia?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but it does exist. So.
What is it? Are you going to tell us?
Actually, I'll tell you what it is. It's a fear of Halloween, believe it or not.
Oh!
Fear of Halloween. And Samhain, I guess, is an ancient pagan festival of the dead, which Halloween is, based on, which is supposed to be the one day that the dead are supposed to walk the earth. So that's where it all derived. And yes, samhainophobia is an actual fear of Halloween. I can't imagine, but there are some people walking around this planet that are actually afraid of my favorite holiday coming up.
Wow, that's crazy. And by the way, I'm not sure that that's exactly how it went down, like you said about the Day of Walking Dead. Isn't that Dia de Muerto, which is the Spanish holiday, Dia de los Muertos, or whatever the fuck it is?
Well, there's different versions of it. This was the pagan one. I mean, I'm sure there's I'm
right.
sure
it was like a 3-day festival. Like on November 1st, they celebrated the saints. And then there was the next day, I think, was or the day before was obviously the eve of, so that was the party before. And then I think there was a day to celebrate the dead, like that were everybody, whether they were saints or not. And it was just like every holiday is just an excuse to party, right?
Well, I guess, but Halloween's a special holiday. Some believe it's a satanic holiday, but I'll reserve comment on that one.
By the way, we went on this haunted Hollywood tour today, and we saw the house where they filmed, what were we just talking about? Halloween, the original Halloween, and it was cool because the houses across the street, they actually used those too, so they used the real fucking neighborhood. Like, they said that a bunch of dead people in the house across the street, and they knocked on the door, and they turned the lights on and off, and Jamie Lee Curtis was all bloody or some shit, screaming, and ran across the house. We also saw the house for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Awesome.
Dude, Dave Defalco lives up there. on Mulholland Drive, which is on top of fucking Hollywood. He has no idea what's around him. I have to tell him because I'm such a mark for the celebrity homes and the history that's up there, and I'm all the time telling him what's all around him. Like, he had no idea that right down the street from him was the very first house ever built in Hollywood. Right down there at the bottom of the outpost. That's kind of fascinating, huh?
Yeah. Yes. I had no idea, RVD.
Dave, why don't you plug Chaos for us and tell us about this?
The most brutal foe. Well, you know, the whole world is coming to Chaos, so I think we were a little ahead of our time with that one, you know. But the minute it was unleashed, it's like, you know, everything, the energy soon followed it, and I don't know, man, it's been crazy. But, you know, right now, Chaos is alive and comfortable and continuing to cause mayhem across the country. So. And
Neil, have you had a chance this wonderful movie?
Not yet.
Yeah, well, you will not forget once you do watch it. The scenes are just so realistic. A couple of scenes in particular. It's not a chop them up, you know, slice them and dice them. It's not like that at all. There's just a couple of very powerful, intense scenes that females have a hard time watching. They leave the theater, they get sick, they get dizzy or whatever. I looked at it from movie, you know, making, you know, as a film, you know, looking at it like, wow, they did a good job with the makeup, but a lot of the people watching were able to look at it the same way.
Yeah, including film critic Roger Ebert, who obviously made the movie notorious.
Is there a website? It's chaos.com or what is it?
Well, yeah, although I think that may be down now because, you know, we had it up for a while, but I don't know if it's still up. But, you know, the movie's all over the Internet. Like, if you do
Chaos, David Defalco, it'll pop right up.
You'd see all the stuff with Ebert, and that's all, like, there's tons of stuff on it all over.
I'm listening right now.
Right on. Hey, Mike, I know you're still on the line. Did you have a ghost story you were going to share with us?
Well, yeah, it happened, like, I'm going to say, like, a couple of years ago. Basically, me and my friends were just walking out, you know, through the cornfields, you know, and, you know, because when they just, like, recently filmed a remake of, like, Children of the Corn around here. So my friends decided to freaking run around the cornfield, scare me, dress up like a freaking scarecrows, and not much of a story, not too scary, but basically I kept wondering what the hell was going on, and everyone kept jumping out of the cornfields and scaring the crap out of me, man. It's like
that would be some scary. That would be some scary shit. I remember when I was a kid playing in a cornfield, and it was like you could make your own paths because you stomp down on the corn stalks and they break and lay down, and then you're making paths, and the stalks are like way taller than us. I don't know because we were kids, but I'm guessing the stalks were 6 feet tall or whatever. You couldn't see over them, and so you would be following these mazes, and that got pretty scary. It was I could imagine that'd be a pretty cool place to try and scare somebody, spook them. Or maybe it'd be a cool place to bury somebody for Dave Defalco.
Yeah, you got to see my house right now, RVD. I got all my little friends back out in the bar, and it's more cool than ever. Yep.
I will check it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally in Halloween mode.
Right on. Well, I got like some other callers too, so if you guys want to hang out, you're more than welcome to. If you gotta go, then just say, hey, I gotta go, but bring Karsten around because I'm taking the phone calls. Okay, cool. This caller.
Okay.
Right now we got Harry Slash from New York. What's up, Harry Slash?
Yo, RVD, what's happening, man?
I'm having a pretty good show, man. This is pretty fun. You know, I'm sitting here by myself. Sonya's in here.
Hi, Harry.
Hey,
Hi, Harry Slash.
Yeah, and Zena. Sonya and Zena are sitting here with me, and the Masterpiece is in Spain wrestling this week. I don't know if he'll be back in time for next week's show or not, but I'm sure he'll be back when he can. He might call in, too. Matter of fact, I should keep an eye out. I got a whole bunch of phone calls coming in, and I don't know what the fuck a call from Spain will look like. I assume my producer will say Well, she'll give me a message. I don't know. But anyway, I think I asked you the other day about ghost stories or something, and I don't know. What didn't I ask you, Harry, the other day if you had anything like that?
Yeah, we talked about that, but I've heard most of the show. Just to let you know, that was Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys that Charles Manson was hanging out with.
Oh, you know that story?
Yeah.
Why did I think his name was Eddie? Was it Eddie Wilson or something like that?
Dennis Wilson.
Dennis Wilson. Okay, yeah, that sounds enough like Eddie.
Yeah, the song that Charles wrote was re-recorded by the Beach Boys, and they called it "Never Learn Not to Love." I think was
our musical expert Harry Slash, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Harry Slash did all the music for the original ECW, so hats off to Harry. And also you do the video on RobVidM.com that plays with RVD TV, which I haven't even gone to my RVD TV clip yet, but I'm going to take some more phone calls because I got a bunch of them. Is it cold in New York, Harry? I bet it's fucking cold.
Dude, it's brutal. We're having like December weather the last couple of days in the 40s during the day.
Neil, did you make it back down to Southern Cali yet?
No, not yet. I think you would have known if I was there.
No, not you. I got Neil Kaplan on the line. I got David Defalco, plus some other callers. I was wondering if Neil goes to Northern California a lot, and I was just wondering if he's back in L.A. yet.
I am actually speaking to you, Robert, from the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills.
All right. Just remember what to tell them when you get on the airplane.
Your destination is RVD TV and RobVidM.com.
All right. Think you can remember that? If not, I'll play it again. All right, so yeah, it's fucking cold in New York. Sorry, Harry. Hate it for you. It's beautiful in California, and Halloween is right around the corner. So, all right, Sonia says go to ghost stories, go to ghost stories. Okay, well, let's see. Chris, we heard Chris's ghost story, and let me see. Did we already talk to you?
No, we already talked to him.
Okay. Hey, what up, Mike from Iowa? We're just saying hi, dude. Look, Mike with a ghost story. What's 740? That's not Ohio?
I think that's
Ohio.
It is Ohio. Ohio gozaimasu.
Hey, what's
That's
up?
Japanese, dude. Did you know Ohio means good morning in Japanese?
No.
All right, well, Mike, you should know that. You live in Ohio. Mike calling from Ohio with a ghost story, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. We're excited. We got movie filmmaker David Defalco on the line. I got voice impressionist, actor, writer, whatever else you are, Neil Kaplan. And I got Sonia Van Dam. I got Zena Van Dam. And we are stoked and looking forward to your story. So hit us. Make it a good one. And don't make it really long either. No, make it as long as you want. I'm joking. No pressure. Okay, go!
Okay, well, my grandma used to live with us, and she died, and the day after, I was on the computer typing, and I felt something like cold touch me and brush my hair. She used to do that a lot to get me out of there. So I left because I was freaked out, and then the chair that she used to sit in, my dog wouldn't go in because he had his tail in between his legs and ran away. So.
Ooh. All right, so a little brush, right?
Yeah.
Little unexplainable cold brush.
And then the dog wouldn't go on her chair. And that's a true story.
Yeah, you know, dogs can sense that shit. I don't know why, but yeah, a lot of times they'll bark and like they see something, they're barking at something with intention of saying, hey, you know, I see you, get the fuck away from me, and there's nothing that people can see.
He didn't bark. He kind of was too scared to.
Yeah. Awesome.
That was creepy.
All right. Well, that was a pretty good story, man. Thanks for the call, Mike. I'm going to put you on mute and go on to another caller, because I don't know if I'm supposed to hang up or not.
Have a great day.
Awesome, dude. Sweet. So, let's see. Is that a story? Oh, there's no yellow one on that one. Hey, Nikki, producer. Let's go to Nikki, the producer, baby. We can ask her some questions, too. It says that she's already on the air, too. So that means you can already hear us. What's up? RVD Radio. Wait, hold on. RVD Radio. Wait, should I play some music? Hold on, because she's like part of the show and stuff, so I got to do this right. Introduction.
Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that!
All right, RVD Radio producer, Nikki Starr!
Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Nikki. I know, that was lame. Oh, look, did you hang up? It says, it said on air, hey, did you hang up, Nikki Starr?
I did not. No, I did not hang up, but I was waiting for you to unmute me. That was great timing.
Who muted you?
I've been muted the whole time.
But it didn't say so on mine. It didn't have the little mute thing. There's so many questions I have to ask. There's so many calls on here, and then I don't know who we... I know, look at all those, but I don't know after we talk to them, if I go on to another call, am I supposed to hang up on them? What if they're listening on the phone, and, what do I do?
I would just unmute them, or just mute them, and then go on. If they want to hang up, they'll hang up. Like, do you want Chris to be muted, or do you still want to keep talking to him?
Chris, man, were you done with us? Refresh. Yeah, I know Chris is, we hear Chris's story. Okay, well, Nikki Starr, I asked you earlier if you had a contribution to our subject today, ghost stories, and you said yes. What happened?
Well, I have a few because I have, ghosts around me that follow me and things like that, but probably the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, and it's happened on numerous occasions, is waking up in the middle of the night because someone, I know this to be true too, this is not a figment of my imagination, all right, because someone either touches me on my shoulder or they shake me a little bit. I wake up and there's a little boy at the end of my bed, okay, and he's just looking at me. I don't necessarily get afraid, it just startles me. And sometimes, all right, he'll try to start a conversation. He opens his mouth, but no words will come out. And so he's just, going, bah, and then nothing will come out. And
hey, wait. Hey, when you say, okay, you were just going to answer my question. I cut you off. It happens to you repeatedly?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. And it's happened in every house I've lived in, and it's happened in different places. So I'm pretty sure that, I'm pretty sure it's not my imagination. You get this feeling, like in the back of your neck that's, the hair standing on the ends, you know what I mean? And like that, to me, that is one, he just kind of hangs around. I guess he's about 6 years old. I would guess that. And sometimes I'll hear things like in the hallway, okay, like he's riding a bike up and down the hallway.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been sometimes crying. And I can't find where the crying's from, but I know it's that little boy. I know it.
That's pretty creepy. Wow.
Yeah.
Now here's what I think, though. Tell me if this makes sense, and I'll ask some other people, because we got a lot of people to get to. Look at all those calls.
I know. Isn't that great?
That is great. You might have to help me take some of the calls, and because I can only have so many, right? Okay, but anyway, if you acknowledge that there's a spiritual dimension at all, and this could include also even talking about God, okay? If you people that believe in God are spiritual from a perspective, people that believe in ghosts are spiritual from a perspective, then if you just totally believe the Big Bang Theory, which means that in one instant there was an accidental fucking explosion that evolved into what we have now, then how can you also believe that there's spirituality? Because there's no place for that in the Big Bang Theory, is there?
I don't necessarily believe in the Big Bang Theory. I don't really
I don't
know
either.
Who else know what happened?
Who else wants to bite on that? Neil, did I hear you? Did I see your hand raising?
I No, I was just saying, I think there's absolutely room for a mixture of the two. I mean, if you buy into the whole theory of an all-powerful being, why can't the result of him sneezing or her sneezing or snapping her fingers or clapping his hands be the Big Bang as we know it? I mean, I don't see why the two are mutually exclusive. I think they absolutely can walk hand in hand.
Okay, but then isn't that like a third-person theory outside of what science would teach you in high school?
Oh, well, absolutely, because science doesn't necessarily know or yet understand what caused the Big Bang. You know, but obviously if they don't understand or know where the genesis of it is from, pardon the potential pun, but why couldn't the two walk hand in hand? There are plenty of things that science...
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities, and we don't really know, and I'm always willing to accept that, but that's just okay, but that's just a question that popped up. But, hey, David Defalco, do you got Carson Lorenz with you?
Unfortunately, I did, but now he's gone.
Is he gone, or is he back out on the porch?
No, he's gone.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's leaving tomorrow, but I got some good news actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right, cool. Well, almost had Carson Lorenz as a guest on RVD Radio, but now
come on next time.
It'll never be.
Next time we'll have.
He's not welcome on next week.
He's no longer welcome. Screw Harold and Kumar.
Dude, that's a pretty good sound clip though, right? I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. So when people say RVD, you have to go back to wrestling. You're the best. I can say, hey, you know.
That's right. That was funny.
You know, you get it. You get it.
I get it.
Right. Hey, Dave Defalco, are you ready to hear from Dr. Shawn Staziak?
Oh, God, I'd love to hear from Dr. Shawn Staziak. Put him on.
Dr. Shawn, speak to us. No? Okay, is someone calling from 214 that's not Dr. Shawn? Dude, 214, that's Shawn's area code. I thought that was going to be him calling, but it's nobody. Or was that a fucking robot? Did you hear that? Brrr. Here comes a message from Nikki. She didn't screen it. All right. Anyway, Dr. Shawn will be calling in, and I guess that wasn't him, or if it was him, he probably dropped his phone while he was doing cardio. He's had a little issue with retaining some water in his left shoulder. So, all right. Well, who's calling from Dallas, Texas? Speak up now.
Hey, it's me, Dr. Shawn.
Of course it's you. Were you shy or something?
We're having technical difficulties. I could hear you guys, but I guess you couldn't hear me. That was my robot impersonation.
You did good. That was a good robot. What's going on, Dr. Shawn? I got David Defalco. I got Neil Kaplan. We had Carson Lorenz, producer of Grudge, and Harold and shit. Not online, but really close by.
Well, hey guys, how's it going, man?
Excellent, dude. We're having a kick-ass show.
You know, I had to listen to the archives.
RVD, motherfucker!
I knew that was coming. That's your favorite sound clip. Yeah, anyway.
But how are you doing? Are you working out? Are you in the gym? What's going on?
I'm done working out. I'm on my way to my house because I've got my show coming on in about 40 minutes.
Oh, sweet, dude. Well, listen, Shawn, we're talking about ghost stories, and we're talking about Halloween and shit. You happen to have some of the most fascinating ghost stories. I don't know how much you want to share, and that's completely up to you. But, you know, I traveled with Shawn on the road in WWE, and when you travel with somebody, you eat breakfast with them, you eat lunch with them, you wait for them after work, you know, and you go and you pick a hotel together, you have sex with, I'm sorry, Shawn, I wasn't going to talk about that, but...
hey, wait a second, I'm blowing my cover.
I got carried away. But anyway, we actually had, really dove into the whole spiritual world quite a bit, and Shawn has a connection to the spirit world that's quite different than anybody else really that I've met. And I don't know, like I said, if you really want to share Let me know if you don't want to share, but if you do, I'd love to have you.
I can share one tonight. It just happened, and we've talked about this for the last 6 years, Rob. But you can call it a coincidence. You can call it whatever people will call it. And you always say you don't have to say that with me because you're already on board with where we're at on this whole thing. But tonight, the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series, and I had no idea they were even playing. That's how oblivious I am to the World Series this year. I was working out tonight. I was doing legs, going a little bit lighter. I'd never do reps of 73, but I did 73 because it was the year my dad won the WWF title back in 1973, and it was in Philadelphia. And I thought that was kind of peculiar tonight that I would specifically do 73 reps, which I never do. Thought about him, go upstairs to do some cardio, watch the very last outing of the Philadelphia Phillies winning the World Series tonight in Philly, and the next song that was on my iPod was Elvis Presley, which reminds me of my dad because of the long black sideburns. So there you go. I believe that was a spiritual connection, and you can call me digging a little bit. You can say, well, that's by luck, by chance, but no chance. That's definitely, stuff like that happens to me all the time. I can share something, a little bit more specific, and I'll just say this. Remember when I did a documentary film last year, Rob?
Of course.
Okay.
Yep, it's called Determined. Shawn Staziak, Determined.
Correct, and you can actually order that on musculargalore.com. And but point being is that we were having a hard time trying to find footage of my dad and myself because WWE didn't want to cooperate and allow us to use any footage of my stuff or my dad's stuff. So we didn't know what we were going to do as far as putting footage in the film. And
His
so
dad,
I remember.
I'm sorry, Shawn. Just for those who don't know, Shawn's dad was Stan the Man Staziak, a legendary world champion of the 70s.
1973 was a world champion. 1973. In fact, I think that's where you might have dropped the WWE title. Wasn't there kind of a connection there that we acknowledged? Wasn't that 2 years ago?
Well, the same place or the same year? Because I was only 2 years old.
No, man, the same city. It was someone had made a reference to my dad the night that you dropped. He said, well, keep your chin up, Rob. Things happen. Just, kind of like Stan Stasiak. Remember the story? You probably don't remember. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know. I had my mind on a lot of things. I was facing a 30-day suspension, the big consequences of the big pot bust. And, yeah, I dropped a nut.
I'll just finish my story. Basically what happened was I had this conversation with a gentleman that I work out with. He looks just like Jackie Chan. He could be his double. And he lost his mom about 2 years prior, and he was just having a real hard time with it, had never really accepted it and wasn't able to deal with it. And so I was out in the parking lot just having a heart-to-heart with him, and I told him, I said, look, bro, just, keep your antennas open, keep your mind open to this kind of stuff, because if you do, your mom, she'll connect with you. She'll communicate. There's, you just got to be open to that kind of stuff. Don't be closed-minded, and you'll see what I mean. And
That's right, Daddy.
I gave some examples of my dad. I said, my dad's a real strong soul. He's always playing jokes. I swear the guy ribs me, And he goes, well, what do you mean? And I gave him a couple examples. I said, oh, that's so cool. So anyway, the next day, within 8 hours of the very next, day, I received this anonymous phone call from a guy from Boston, Massachusetts by the name of Stan, out of all names. And he tells me that basically my dad was friends with his family back in the 60s and 70s. They held on to some kind of box of memorabilia from him, videotapes, photo albums of family, of ring jackets, just all kinds of real personal stuff, memorabilia. And basically he sent it to me, and lo and behold, in that box there was these videotapes of my dad and me when I was a little, 3-year-old kid when he was the WWE champion back in '73, grainage, vintage footage, my family, things I'd never seen before. Both parents are deceased, and years later, I mean, you mean to tell me 33-plus years later, I'm going to get an anonymous phone call by a man named Stan, and of all names, and he's got footage of my family. And when's the last
That's right, Daddy.
When's the last time I shot a documentary film? It was never, and we're looking for footage. And I had just spoken about my dad and about how connected we are and how he always shows up in my life somehow, some way. He lets me know that I'm not alone. He's always here. And that was a prime example. The chances of that happening are so slim, Go figure. But it happens. That's one example of so many that I could talk about.
Yeah, so many that I'm sure you'll write a book sometime, and
I think
all
I
this
very
shit.
well could.
Very well connected. All right, so hey, your show, Dr. Shawn, is on right after mine. It's is it blogtalkradio.com/AskDrShawn?
Exactly, and it's Ask Dr. Dr. and then SHAWN. The only way to spell it correctly.
Sweet, awesome. So people that are listening, go over there and ask Dr. Shawn whatever. He's got time. He'll put you through, and you can ask whatever. But what's your subject today?
We're talking about overtraining. We're going to talk about, I got a gentleman calling in about skin care and the ORAC levels of stuff that a lot of people don't know about, just antioxidants. And we're having Arnold's calling in from California, the Governor. We got Al Diaz calling in, a Hollywood actor from The Ringer is calling in again. RVD's calling in again. Dave Defalco calling in if he wants.
Awesome, dude. Well, sounds like you have...
How come I'm not hearing Dave or anybody in the background? How come they're so quiet?
Got some great guests, let me just say that.
RVD, motherfucker! RVD, motherfucker!
I also got Officer Anonymous on the line besides Dave Defalco and Neil Kaplan. Can you hear us, Officer Anonymous? Dude, you're not going to talk to us? I don't understand why that happens.
He's anonymous.
Well, he's a police officer friend of mine who is called in, and he calls in every week. He's our legal reference. He's on the East Coast in Massachusetts. And
right on, that's right.
Hey, where's that Boston accent? Because he wants to talk to you, too, Dave, because you guys are both in the same part of the world.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, when we get ready for my show, I want to say goodbye. Rob, thanks for having me on, and call in to my show.
Right on, dude. I will. I'll call in a little while, man. Have a great show, Shawn.
Take it easy, Shawn.
And Brian, you can call in, too, brother. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Not acknowledging us. Hey, man, if you call and you want to get through, you got to talk, biatch. Nothing? Okay.
I'm still here. Whatever, man.
Yeah, all right. You guys are here. You guys are staying with me. That's cool. I got a bunch of callers on the line. I just had one of them is my friend, and he just texted and said, "Hey, what's up? What do you I had him waiting too long. He's probably in a bathroom or something. I don't know. So you guys are hanging out, which I appreciate. I didn't really expect that, so that's pretty cool. So let's go to Anthony with a question about ECW brand. We'll get a little bit away from the subject for about 2 minutes. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, man.
What's the question, brother?
Yeah, I didn't want to get off topic, but I was just really intrigued and wanted to know what you thought of the new ECW brand and what Vince is doing to it, and the new guys that are coming out of it, like Kofi Kingston, Matt Sydal or Evan Bourne, whatever you want to call him, and CM Punk.
Okay, well, with the exception of CM Punk, I don't know who any of those guys are that you just mentioned. I don't really watch the show. When I was there, I enjoyed it more than the WWE, more than the Raw or the SmackDown. At least in ECW, it was better for me, but it was still very insulting to the original ECW spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it first came out, it was way cool, and they were letting me do whatever I wanted to every night, and then they cut it way back and then way back to where it was almost just like the other shows, except for it had a lot less into it, Yeah, but thanks for the call, dude. Appreciate it. That was a rare wrestling conversation, but, dude, I'll answer wrestling calls. I don't mind. I am a wrestler, and I had wrestled for almost 18 years or so, up until my contract expired in last June. And since then, I have been doing this online reality show on my website called RVD TV. It's an awesome, kick-ass show. I have a bunch of celebrities on it talking about thought-provoking subjects like this conversation here, and we talk about all kinds of shit. And we add a new episode to it every fucking week, so there's a whole bunch of archives to look at robvandam.com. It's based on a membership gimmick, but you can, look at the preview page, and you can see exactly what the episodes are all about. And they're awesome. You know, it's my real life. It's here at my house. It's also like me in Japan or in Spain or Mexico or anywhere, doing cool things. And it's me talking to a bunch of celebrities about shit like marijuana prohibition, about language censorship, about all kinds of things. And, ooh, look, baby, did I just get kicked offline? Holy shit. Hey, I just got kicked offline. I don't know, that was weird. So I was just going to go to an RVD clip. I had this huge fucking, this huge setup, this huge build-up. Having computer problems. All right, cool. Hey, producer Nikki. I got her muted. Can you unmute yourself? Talk to me? Okay.
What do you want me to do?
Can you play the clip that says the ghost story, whatever the fuck it was?
Absolutely.
This is a conversation, by the way, of myself talking to David Defalco and Sabu, and we actually happened to be talking about God and what we thought about God. But as I mentioned earlier with my Big Bang Theory, or that the whole thing is a spiritual world. So I picked a part of this conversation, about 4 minutes and 20 seconds, give or take a minute or so, and to relate to today's subject. So here's Rob Van Dam, David Defalco, and Sabu. Hit it, Nikki.
Okay, for instance, Dave, I grew up in a haunted house. Now, do you believe in hauntings, that things are haunted? Well, yes, of course you do. Well, right there, science isn't going to explain the ghost because they can't explain it, so what you're doing is contradicting yourself.
Wait a minute. Now, you just made a statement. You grew up in a haunted house.
Yes.
But all right, give me the evidence that you feel that...
Well, fans want to hear about this anyway. I've never really talked about this, but before I moved into my house in Penfield, a man actually hung himself in our garage, right? We knew that going in. When I was 5 years old, I lived there until I was about 18 years old. Okay. The whole time I was there, growing up, we knew that there was a ghost in the house. And we weren't afraid of him at all, but we just knew and accepted that, almost like part of the family. Footsteps all the time, noises, doors.
Rats?
Doors opening and closing. There was, there's a huge list because I was there like my whole life, you know.
Question. One quick question. Were you smoking pot in those days?
No, I never touched it until I was 21.
No drugs, no nothing?
Never touched any drugs until I was 21 years old.
All right.
And I moved out of there when I was about 19. I started on the road, met Sabu when I was 18, and Sabu, when we started on the road and Sabu would drive, he used to have a Jesus Christ cross hanging from the rearview mirror, and we'd ask him what that was for, and he said that was so Jesus would watch over us on the road when we'd be traveling. And we'd do like 700 miles a week or something. Sabu would be driving, and he'd be like falling asleep, you know, and like waking up, and we'd be yelling and stuff. And sometimes Judge Jad we needed to be watched over.
I night at his house one time, and I heard steps. Remember?
Really? It's a new house that I'm at now. No. Oh, it's
the house on Battle Creek.
Oh, you did? Okay, I don't remember.
You heard steps?
Everybody did.
You told me about it, and I thought I heard something on the steps.
Oh, yeah. Even I had an experience there.
Sabu, have you ever personally had any experiences with anything that you would describe as unexplainable or like a miracle, like this gentleman?
No, not really.
No.
We should have had this topic about...
I heard steps in his house, but I didn't really put two and two together until the morning, and he told me... He reminded me of the ghost in the house. I didn't think about it at the time.
When Sonia and I were staying at that house, the ghost actually knocked on the door and woke us up in time to catch our flight.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But, if we wanted to do a show about spirituality, which we probably should have with this setting, that could get into a lot more of that. But I'm just using that as an example of it here. I'm just saying something that science can't explain.
Well, back, but there could be, there could be, right, science...
Let me ask you, do you believe that there is no God?
No, what I believe is that there is a force of good or a God, but some kind of energy or force or whatever it is, and of course I believe that there's a force of evil. I mean, I'm 100% convinced of that, obviously, having experienced it, personally, but I believe there are two opposing forces. Now, what they are, I don't know, and the way the Bible details everything, I kind of, have a hard time accepting all of that because it's so detailed. I mean, how could anybody possibly know with that kind of detail, forces that are, way beyond our comprehension. So I think that, to that degree, I don't necessarily accept it all, but I do believe in a good force, but it could be, but what those are, I mean, we may not even be able to comprehend even if, it was told to us. Because now you're talking about things way, out of our field.
So basically, the only thing that we can know for sure is what our own personal experiences are and our own personal relationship with that energy, right? So, all right, David Defalco, were you listening to that?
Yes, I was.
All right, so you remember
memories? Yep.
You remember us talking about that, and you were just taking a position of looking for evidence of there being anything spiritual. But knowing you like I do know you, and I'll get back to my own personal experiences because that's something that I haven't really talked about too much. But I know of a few incredible happenings that you've been involved in, and you've used the energies to guide you into making very important decisions. And one of them being, how about when you were on the treadmill and running and you fell and you took a bump and got thrown across the gym and that little cross broke inside your pocket and you took that as a message, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I believe, and I was told this by the L.A. County coroner, that for every action that takes place on Earth, there is a spiritual action, behind it, or a spiritual battle that, is underlying, that affects the actions that happen on Earth, and I actually believe all that. I mean, I've had many experiences myself that, to me, are just unexplainable in any other direction. So, yeah, it made a believer out of me.
Yeah, right on. Well, and I know that's just one of many. When you did the movie Chaos, you had dark energies all around you, and you told me about so many different circumstances that there's like a book's worth of shit that's happened, bad luck, bad karma, bad energy on the set, all around the set, and everybody attached to it, right?
Yeah, and it keeps going, believe it or not. Because something like that is part of a bigger picture. I mean, the producer, Stephen J. Bernheim, explained it to me as that his belief is that chaos was a manifestation. I mean, it's amazing. Like, in one day, if I live long enough, I'd like to write a book about it all because, as you know, I've been keeping detailed journals of every day of my life for the past, 18 years. So it's I got everything down in black and white. So one of these days, I'd love to write a book about it.
No kidding. Which you already do have the book, but yeah.
Well, I have it, right, but just turn it into a real book.
Yeah, something we can read. But that is incredible about taking documenting every day like you do. That's fucking incredible. That's a lot.
I mean, now I just do it out of, it's like automatic for me, but it takes a lot of discipline to do that because you really have to, you can imagine, what it takes.
Right. So the clip that I played from RVD TV, I mentioned on there that I grew up in a haunted house. Well, this was something that I just always accepted as fact. I mean, I was 5 years old when I moved into this house in Penfield in Battle Creek, Michigan, and a previous owner had hung himself in the garage, and it was something that we knew when we bought the house. And I guess we knew that that it was supposed to be haunted or whatever. But my parents raised me to not be afraid and to think of it as a friendly ghost. So I always did. So my whole life, up until I was like probably 19, by the time I moved out of there, started my wrestling career. But my whole life, I could count on it. And it never scared me. I was never afraid of it because when I was really young, I was just brought up to be all right with it. So like kids at school, they knew about it. I remember I had this kid, John Lindquist, over at my house one time, and he was so freaked out the whole time. He was like scared, like, what's the ghost going to do? What's it going to do? And I was like, dude, relax. I mean, you'll hear some footsteps or something will drop in the garage or whatever, and we were there watching television, and we
we heard the footsteps just like we could always count on, and we heard footsteps walking up the stairs. And he was like, "What is that? Who's that?" You know, and he got all scared. I said, "Relax, dude. It's probably just my dog," because I knew we were the only ones home. And we looked down, our dog was right at my feet. So he got scared, and he ran out of the house. I couldn't get the fucker to come back into my house. He was so freaked out. I've never been freaked out by it. There's a huge list of things that the ghost has done, you know, while I was there. And the thing that was really weird or awkward, or at least it is now looking back as an adult, but the family of that guy that hung himself went to school with me. And so it was just kind of weird, like that like their uncle was like haunting my house. And I just remember my mom saying we could never like hang a ghost out in front at Halloween because it would be too offensive to the family. She had to explain that to me because I wanted to hang a ghost out, and I had this idea it was going to swing down and scare people and shit. I was going to be up on the roof, and I was probably going to do a backflip off the roof afterwards because I was cool like that. But anyway, to tell you one story, just because it's very specific, this is after I had grown up and moved out of the house, and my parents were still living in that house. They now live in Florida, by the way, but they're at that house in Battle Creek, Michigan. And the way the story goes with the guy that hung himself in the garage, it was over a woman. I think his wife and him were splitting up. The way that it was told to me, he was calling her saying, "Come back," you know, and she was with some other guy maybe, and then he hung himself. So one day, my mom and my dad are in the living room. My dad's reading the newspaper, and he sees an article about the ex-wife that she's getting remarried again. And so he says to my mom, "It looks like Eileen, that bitch is getting married again." All of a sudden, I heard this huge crashing noise out in the garage. My dad ran out there to see what happened, and the spring had come off of our garage door, which is crazy. That just never happens. Our electric garage door, and my dad took the spring and he stretched it out and he hooked it back in and he fixed it and he came back inside, and as he tried to continue reading the article to my mom, crash, there's that noise. He went out there, the other side of the garage then came undone. And we have I have 18, well, I guess from 5 to 18 or 19, I've got about 12, 13 years of experiencing stuff like that. That was part of the norm for me. So that's something that I haven't really ever even had an opportunity to really talk about on, I've never really been interviewed on that or anything where it would come up. So that may be new to some fans to hear that. But so I think maybe that has a lot to do with why I've always been receptive to spirituality, and then there's also other things, as far as just the way that I live, my beliefs, and my connection. So some people call it clairvoyant, but I think that it all works well together. So here's another call from Florida, and it's Daniel, and Daniel wants to talk. What? Politics. Is that what you want to talk about, Daniel?
Yeah, man. Can I start off and tell you, when I was 16, I met you and Shawn stayed there at the same time, and y'all was cool as hell. I just want to tell you that. And,
right on, dude. Appreciate that.
I met you. The funny thing is, I met you at this Outback, but you were in front of a comic book store, and I was like, no, that ain't him, that ain't him. I was 16. I was scared to come up to you, but you were cool. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but, nobody ever believes that it's really me or that I would ever really be wherever they are. I have people come up to me, you ain't RVD. If you were RVD, why would you be here? Well, fuck, because I got to eat.
That's what I said.
RVD, motherfucker!
No, but actually what I was calling about is what's your stance on your politics, pretty much? Are you a Republican, Democrat?
No, fuck no. Dude. Is there anything about me that would make anybody think I could be Republican? Because no, definitely not. And honestly, I don't really like to be labeled, so I don't think, I don't try to fit in anybody's box of description. So I won't say that I'm Democratic just because I'm not Republican, because there's a lot more to it than that. But I will say, vote for Obama.
Definitely. And is your show on every day?
No, this is once a week. I'm doing the show on Wednesday, Same time every week. Right now while you're listening to it. I'll be back on next week. Yes.
Hey, Rob.
Speak to me.
Hey, man, if you want to get political for a half a second, I need to ask you your views on Prop 5 here in California.
Okay, you got to refresh my memory because it's Prop 5 about the kids.
No, that's the one about basically mellowing out on sentencing drug offenders and giving them the opportunity to go to rehab as opposed to filling our prisons with people who are committing crimes not hurting anybody else but themselves. And it also lowers the criminalization of marijuana possession in California to basically a $100 ticket if you have less than an ounce.
Proposition 4 is about marijuana and furthering the decriminalization of it.
I thought it was 5. But anyway, don't worry, I'll double check before I go in. But I just wanted to give you a moment to maybe speak to some of your constituents out there because I'm pretty sure I know how you feel about it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up because, yeah, I mean, I do need to hear both sides of the argument on that. I got to do my homework before the 4th, which is Tuesday, right? Or no, when is that when the 4th is? Okay, so
Rob,
yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Rob.
What?
Just to tell you this, I'm neither Republican or Democrat. I'm a liberal, pretty much. What's best for this country is what I'm going for. But there is something I want you to check out, or if you get a chance, it ain't no big deal. But go to YouTube and type in October Surprise. It's about a 30-minute clip.
All right, dude. October Surprise, he says. So we'll check that out. And Neil, yeah, here's how I feel about that. Prisons are a huge fucking business, you know, and it's a business opening up and running and also incarcerating and keeping people in there. It's there's a company that I can't think of the name of the company off the tip of my tongue right now. I usually know it, but this company, that's what it does. It builds and operates prisons, and it's traded like on the stock market based on how many prisoners it has. So it's actually business to arrest more people. I think jail cells are probably okay for people that really are a threat if they're out in society. People that are fucking little kids, people that are murdering people. Well, hell yeah, lock them up, decide, you know, what you're going to do with them then. But to take people that do things that are harmless and throw them in jail just because they're prohibited based on bullshit, then of course that's nothing but pure evil tyranny. You know what? It's straight up fucking I can't call it unlawful, although right now if you got arrested here for marijuana, it is unlawful by the state because it's perfectly legal if you have a doctor's recommendation, but by the federal government it's unlawful, so that's like a huge debate there. Fuck no, yeah, definitely I'm going to look into that, Neil, because I'm a firm believer in the fact. It's not even just an idea, it's true, it's a fact. They arrest way too many people, you know, over 700,000 people in the country for marijuana, and it is over 90% for possession. That's a waste of resources. Not only, you know, the 30,000 or whatever it costs to keep them in prison for a year, but also, I mean, even the cops that go out and bust them, the processing, the paperwork, everything involved with chasing, you know, something like that. It's like it created criminals when they outlawed it, you know, marijuana. So that's all bullshit. Yes, I'm definitely going to look into that. I say save the prisons for the real criminals, and it's too bad that my officer friend couldn't get through because he could give us some legal perspective on that.
But the most important thing, Rob, is no matter which side of the line you fall on, you know, as a responsible member of a free society, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to at least get out there and vote and not let the world pass us by. Whether our beliefs win or our beliefs lose, participate. You know? I
totally agree. And I think that this year it's going to be like a record high for like the most votes we've had in a long time. Don't you agree?
Well, they're predicting 65% of the eligible voters in America are actually going to cast a vote, which the last I heard would be the highest total since 1908. And so that's encouraging. And then you got states like Michigan, which actually I saw in the news has 98% of their eligible voters, 98% are registered. That's awesome.
That's
so
that's right, Daddy.
Well, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right, Daddy.
That's right, Daddy.
So anyway, sir, who do you think we're going to see more costumes of on Friday? You think we're going to see more Obamas, more Palins, more McCains?
Palin. There's going to be a lot of Palins, which, by the way, since you bring that up, too, and this does bring us back to the subject of Halloween and ghost stories and shit. I don't know if you have heard some of the media buzz about the Palin that is hung. She's actually hung by a noose. That's up here in Hollywood, and we drove by it and saw it today when we were on the tour. I heard a radio show talking about it yesterday. I didn't know what they were talking about, and they were so offended because somebody made a dummy of Palin and they have her hanging, and for some reason all the paparazzi and media is going crazy over it. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I didn't see
now
it.
You heard it from RVD, motherfucker.
RVD, motherfucker! Motherfucker! So anyway, does it look like her at least?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it did. But I mean, there's not really a face. It's like a manic, like a. I think it's a styrofoam head or something. It looks like it's just a white face, but it has her wig and her glasses and.
Right. Man,
like her,
I heard that was like a special effects dude. I was hoping it looked just like her. It was like Madame Tussauds or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, well, she couldn't have hung up at my house because we had a dude that hung himself, but he liked the house so much that he stuck around the whole time we were living there. And, in fact, we often wonder if he followed us here because the house that I'm in L.A. has some incredibly strong energies all night, every night. I mean, we hear noises and go run out and check what's happening almost every night. Garage door opened up and closed on its here. We have lights turn on and off here, and it's and I'm just comfortable with it because I've had that my whole life, and it feels very much like it did when I was a kid. But I don't know, there wasn't much in between, so it's not like my ghost followed me around my whole life. Maybe he was just waiting until I got a cool pad out here before he left Michigan. I don't know. I don't blame him if that's what he did.
No,
I mean, ghosts pay their dues. Ghosts already paid their dues, man. Right?
Yeah. I think he's hanging out at the place where he's haunting. I don't think it's so much about you. I think you got a brand new group of ghosties.
I think so, too. We joke about saying it followed at me or whatever, but I'm attracted to them. I'd sleep with a ghost.
That's right, Daddy. That's right, Daddy.
That's Fonzie, by the way. That's my new sound clip, getting Fonzie some play. I'm going to have him on the show. I think I'll call him next week. That'll be awesome. I haven't talked to Fonzie in a long.
Rob, I got a shout-out to, as the kids say, shout-out to a friend of mine who's actually a huge fan of yours. His name is Simon Williams. He is a brilliant comic book artist out in Wales, and is actually one of the guys that I told the story of Eye of the Wolf to. He was the guy who basically said, dude, that has to be a comic book. So when he read that I was going to be on your show, he wrote to me and said, oh, well, you have to get him to sign something for me and send it out. So I said, well, when I see him, I'll do that, but I won't actually be in studio with Rob. But he's a huge fan of yours, so if you could say hello to Simon, I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Simon says. All right, dude. I got the message, and absolutely. Well, guys, listen, this show kind of went by quick. We've only got 3 minutes, and we're done. As I just got a message from Nikki.
Why not? Enough time for me to get paid.
Time for you to get what?
I said 3 minutes. That's enough time for me to get. Oh, no, I was about to say it's enough time for me to get laid, but my friend is waving at me and saying, that's not nearly enough time.
Oh, well, there you go. I think as long as you got a friend waiting, you might find out, man. So if it takes longer. Holy cow, what was that? Was that you, Nikki? Someone just screamed at me. Anyway, the show's about over, guys, so I don't know if anybody learned anything. I feel like they learned a few things about me.
I believe it or not, I learned that...
I might have learned about me, too. What'd you learn, Dave?
I didn't know... I'm taking more serious, that whole story of your house being haunted and, those energies being involved with you. It makes more sense that me and you would ultimately meet, later on. So
absolutely. That's the thing. I mean, looking back as an adult, and especially from a spiritual perspective, I am able to trace the path and connect a lot of shit that a lot of people overlook. They don't even take the time to do it.
I didn't realize it was that powerful, so I learned something very new.
Yeah, and of course, when me and Sonia, as I mentioned on that thing, were staying there, it knocked on the door, and we would have missed our flight, but it was awesome. Nobody was there. But what are you saying, baby? You want to try and get a ghost story in? No, okay. She wants to hear the music. I better hit the music because we're out, guys. Thanks, Neil Kaplan. Thanks, Dave Defalco.
Thanks you guys.
Callers. I'll see you guys. Yep, see you guys next week. Same time.
Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Assassinator! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Again, got straight to your brain! Straight to your skull crack! You get down to straight to your brain! Straight to your skull crack! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show!